go.
I did. I thought maybe you were a nut. But you were excited.
I wish you'd stayed.
I wish I'd stayed too. Now I wish I'd stayed. I wish I'd done a lot of things. I wish I'd stayed. I do.
Well, I came back downstairs and you were gone.
I walked out the door.
Why?
I don't know. Felt like a scared little kid. I was like, it was above my head. I don't know.
You were scared?
Yeah. I thought you knew that about me. I ran back to the bonfire, trying to outrun my humiliation, I think.
Was it something I said?
Yeah. You said so go. With such disdain, you know?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Jolie? What if you stayed this time?
I walked out the door. There's no memory left.
Come back and make up a goodbye at least. Let's pretend we had one. Bye, Joel.
I love you.
Still pretty
I honestly can't tell a difference.
between 9 and 11 inches.
I also can't go back to the campus at TSU and band for a year.
For the year.
At Prairie View.
Are we ready to go?
Oh, is that what we're recording?
All right, whenever you want to give us the go-ahead. I think to consider that live, that's a great way. Right when they're going, I can tell the difference between 9 and 11 inches. That's a good way of starting it.
It's that 10th inch that really makes a difference.
The itch or the inch?
And that clip was from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That kind of kicks off our segment this week with romantic films. This is Movies a Podcast. My name's Rob, and this is
Jordan.
Curtis.
And Brenda.
And our ever-popular producer.
Hi, this is Dan.
Hi, Dan.
And that's Dan.
That's Dan.
So let's play some catch-up, guys. What's been going on the last 2-3 weeks since we last saw each other?
The Oscars.
Oh, yeah.
The Oscars to bed.
Wait,
Talk
the
about
Oscars
beating a
happened?
dead horse,
Huh?
but
The Oscars happened?
Yeah.
They're over.
Jeez.
Seth MacFarlane wishes they didn't happen.
Oh.
Wishes for a do-over. That was tedious.
Jamie Lee Curtis told me that he was a sexist host, and I agree.
Yeah.
You and your lunches with these celebrities.
She wrote a Huffington Post about how sexist it was,
He
and I
sang
think
a
it
song
was.
about boobies.
Which was supposed to be funny, but it was juvenile.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they had like, on the opposite side, I saw your junk.
Yes.
So even
that song would have been like a couple of verses. That's it.
It's like Hugh
Available on
Jackman.
iTunes.
Michael Fassbender.
Harvey Keitel. Exactly.
Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor's the Kate Winslet of junk.
Oh yeah.
He really is.
He is.
Yeah.
I wish Michael Fassbender was.
No. Once you've seen his, you're good. At least
you?
Ewan McGregor plays around with
Are
it
you?
and does penis
Spins it
puppet
around.
shows.
I was pretty happy with the winners, though.
We were watching it together, and I was
pointing at me.
I wasn't very happy with. I was happy that Christoph Waltz won, but I really wanted Tom Lee Jones to win that one.
Yeah. Just because he
I
doesn't
was
have a
happy
chance
for
to win
Christoph.
another.
I was. Any of those people, any of the best supporting actors could have won.
Yeah.
And I would have been happy.
That's true. That's very true. And Daniel Day-Lewis I was happy with. Jennifer Lawrence I've warmed up to that idea.
When her name was announced and my tears started flowing, she tripped. And I...
Was that your rage?
I
that knocked her over?
swear it was. I ran right up to that TV and I felt vindicated. I felt like there's a God. Like, I'm going to go to AA now.
No, I love Jennifer Lawrence. I can't see her why she won the award for that performance.
Yeah, no, I love the movie, but that wasn't my pick for the best actress.
Jessica Chastain was definitely robbed.
Yeah,
Any
for
of
sure.
them could have won, though. I love Jessica Chastain, but any of the other women could have won. Provence could have won. Like, her performance was more multi-layered than Jennifer Lawrence. And I'm not a Jennifer Lawrence hater.
No,
per
you've
se.
actually warmed up to her.
Yeah, I like her. her other movies, but not for this.
Like, I think she could have even won it for Winter's Bone as opposed to this. I think she did awesome in Winter's Bone.
She's great in Winter's Bone.
Maybe this was the makeup Oscar. They're like, oh, we could have given it to you that week, or that year.
They did that for Jim Broadbent one year. Like, they felt like it was really just an acknowledgement of his career, and then he had been overlooked a few times.
Oh, and then
so they gave him
for Iris.
That wasn't really a great performance, but they just wanted to give one to him.
I mean,
because
that's
he hadn't gotten it.
Russell
I mean, it
Crowe.
happens.
Nice.
Russell Crowe had that.
Got it for
happen.
Gladiator. He should have gotten it for The Insider.
Or A Beautiful Mind.
The Insider was good.
Excellent film.
But I was very happy with the winners predominantly. I thought Best Picture, great choice. I've seen Argo since we've last talked. Amazing.
Isn't
I moved
it
it to my
amazing?
number one
he
movie.
retracted his comment.
I retracted. My number one movie was Argo.
Incredible. I was so excited. Michelle Obama.
Loved it.
Holy crap.
I loved her part.
was shitting my pants.
But there wasn't overall the telecast. I thought for the Oscars was terrible.
It was
Dollsville.
a little dull. I think the most exciting thing was that tie for sound editing or something.
I know.
There's
We're like,
never
I
time.
was
oh,
like, there's a tie that could happen.
But you know what's funny, and it just could be because we're old. I'm the youngest, but everyone
by like 2
by
months.
a
people.
week. But everybody younger than us loved it.
yeah.
I think I had a
It
lot
was
of
like 40
20-year-olds.
million viewers, and,
Yeah.
and it was able to.
How old am I? I was like, where's Billy Crystal? I want Billy Crystal
Where's
back.
Whoopi?
Yeah.
Phyllis
Where's
Diller
Bob
wasn't
Hope?
in the memoriam. What the hell?
Kind of feel like Billy Crystal thought the same thing.
No, I mean, it was an interesting. The thing that really made me warm up to Jennifer Lawrence and really dislike Anne Hathaway more was the backstage interviews. You know, when they win, they take them downstairs and you go and you do the press room. And Jennifer Lawrence was kooky and funny, and she even told them,
awesome.
she's like, I took a shot before I got out here, sorry. And so she was just like all over the place. Anne Hathaway, oh my God, she was full of herself. She went out there and they were like, what did you mean in your speech when you said the dream came true? And she stops, tears up. She's like, well, I just had a dream and it came true.
She dreamed a dream.
And she
Nobody
turned
gives a
around
shit. Nobody
and shielded
cares.
herself from the audience. And then she started talking about how it really affects her that people are critical of her. I was like, oh my God.
There's what,
She
48%,
left
48% of antimatter, and
Yeah, she went through a whole speech about, well, the world is 49% antimatter and 51% matter. And so it always tips in the side of positivity. And if you live your life with compassion like I do, and I was like, oh my God,
Right.
take it
Phyllis
back.
Diller's dead, but Anne Hathaway's still with us. That's proof there is no God.
But that's what sucks is it's such a good performance. It is a good performance. She is a good actress, but she's so disingenuous.
But I mean, you and I were keeping track of every win that she had and how her speeches were by the number. She makes a joke, she thanks the nominees, and it just never came off as sincere.
Doesn't that happen with a lot of people, though? It's so manufactured. It's so styled and PR'd to death.
Renee Zellweger, if you follow her Cold Mountain win, because same thing, that trajectory, you knew she was going to win the whole time.
Well, Natalie Portman, too, with her...
But I think Natalie, you look at someone like Jennifer Lawrence and Daniel Day-Lewis, very opposite, in age and their bodies of work, but both were very sincere and humble when they walked up that stage and took that Oscar.
I love Daniel Day-Lewis.
I think George made a good point a few weeks ago about Anne Hathaway that she's become a very good sweetheart for like no reason or whatsoever.
And it's coming back to get her. Like, I think Lindsay Lohan went through that, and look where she is now. And save your money.
I don't think Anne's going to go the route of Lindsay, but
I just wonder, I wish she would just be like, I won, or like I wish she'd be like, screw
Suck
you,
it.
I
Just
won,
Spikes
like
the
yeah,
statue,
like I'm an
Sure.
Oscar
down
winner.
to the 50-yard
She's
line.
she's under 30 and she's an Oscar winner. I mean, who cares? But she can't. She's got to be like, I'm a vegan actress and I'm thin. So.
well, I guess we unanimously didn't like the Oscars, which was a
I
shame.
know that it's a
Not that we
bad...
didn't like it. It's just I felt a little underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I think Seth MacFarlane did okay. They had to have expected that when. At least it had more personality than Anne Hathaway and James Franco, hosting.
No, I kind of disagree because I
That
think,
was a low. Anne Hathaway and James... And I love James
but
Franco.
I think the Oscars is such a it's such an event that rises above a lot of that, especially after reading that book you had given me, and I felt that he just crapped all over it. I didn't like it at all.
Oh, that's That's the industry now, though. Like, it's all about ratings now. It's not like...
But it's always been about ratings. It's always been a rating. You know, when you have someone like Anne Hathaway and James Franco, but at least I felt with their
It was at least
hosting,
classy.
there was still some
Cool.
classy level to
There
it.
weren't as many Jew jokes.
And
There wasn't a Nazi.
running into the audit.
Oh,
A
you told me.
Nazi.
I forgot.
Yeah.
And Christopher Plummer was not amused. I don't even think when he came out there, he was like, I've never heard that before.
No.
I think he said
Christopher
that.
Plummer.
No.
I think. Crap! What was I about to say? Total blank. Never mind. Go
Well, I
ahead.
know
Was it that thing about the
when
Oscars?
my most emotional moment was when my choice for animated short didn't win. That was like the emotional high mark for the entire telecast. You know it's a bad telecast.
Which one did you want?
I wanted Adam and Dog, which was my favorite
Oh,
of
really?
the
I like
animated
the one with
shorts.
the older couple.
That was cute too.
That was
The
sweet.
upside down.
Yeah.
One, but the one that won Paper
Oh,
Man.
I was disappointed.
the
Sad,
Disney
right?
one.
It was cute, but I think it won because it's Disney.
Yeah. I
Well,
don't know.
we didn't like the Oscars this year. Hopefully next year will be better. Maybe they'll bring in another host that.
We're not watching it.
I think
next
they
year.
should. That's what
Yes,
I was
we
going to say.
will.
I think
We're
they should have had.
boycotting.
We watch it
Amy
every year.
Poehler And Tina Fey.
Tina Fey said I will never do that.
Yeah,
so.
she said she'll
She
never
said
do it.
yesterday. She said I will never
You know what?
host the
Hillary
Oscars.
Clinton said she wouldn't run for president. Look at all that. You know,
That
people
was-
change their mind.
2016. Coming
What
up.
else have we been keeping ourselves busy with?
House of Cards.
House of
The
Cards.
most amazing thing ever. It's like the West Wing fans like relapse. It's like
It's like the adult West Wing.
It is very much the
it
adult
makes
West Wing.
West Wing looks so silly and simple. Well, I mean, West Wing is such a from a simpler time. It's a pre 9/11 world. It was just a much simpler time. No social media. No one has a cell phone. It's just very primitive.
Oh.
But House of Cards, so well done. And I think that forum where directors and writers and can have such freedom. And I read that about David Fincher and why he was attracted to the project, which was he got to do whatever he wanted. And you know, it's such an interesting distribution model. And
even then, like if that's the case, I think that he was able to still, you know, he set a standard, and I don't think he went flashy with it at all. I think he was able to create a model of a show that was fantastic. I mean, we've been going back and forth on what's her name?
Claire. Yeah.
Claire. her
Robin
character-
Wright.
Robin Wright. And
Not
everybody colors her as just this evil, cold-blooded woman, but I don't think that's what she is.
she's very multifaceted. But,
Oh, yes.
but you
that's
don't
what I
see
love
women
about-
like this very often.
Yes, and that's what I love about the
thing.
first two episodes. Is if you just watch the first two, you think she's this Lady Macbeth character, like manipulating things from the back. But as you get to know her more, like you said, like the layers come off, and not to give too much away, but you vacillate. Like, does she hate this life? Does she love this life? Does she love her husband? Does she, because she has an affair, which is not a spoiler. You know, does she love that guy? But I think by the end of it, I understood her.
She made it very clear where she stood in life,
Yes.
and that where she was is where she wanted to be.
It's amazing. It's an amazing performance. So I can't wait for season 2 for sure.
I don't want a season 2. It's just like, ugh. I don't know. It was so perfect, and I rarely think things are perfect, especially TV shows. TV shows are like all over the place. It's such a perfect piece of cinema. Really, it is. It's very cinematic, the scope and the story.
I think I could be satisfied if it didn't have a season 2, but
Except
I would
for
be
Zoe
really excited.
Barnes.
Everyone's gonna hate it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the Anne Hathaway of TV shows.
No. But I'm such a fan of the British miniseries. And I'm a fan of the books, and I'm interested to see how they're going to translate the Michael Hobbs books, the two that come after, into that realm of modern American politics. Is going to be the second one's going to be problematic, I think, but if they skip to the third book, that's going to be an amazing season, because that's a really exciting some story arcs that are really incredible.
Be interesting. Now you have to watch it.
Yes, I'm completely out of the loop because I haven't seen it yet, so I do need to catch up. But the last film I did see was the ABCs of Death.
I saw you and your sister check in on that one.
Yeah, it should be coming out in a couple of weeks, I think, here in Houston, and I would totally recommend it. I love horror. I love horror in general, but I love horror anthologies, and there haven't been a lot since like 80s, 90s. And I would totally recommend it. It's not for the faint of heart or easily offended, but it's totally worth your money. There's a lot of foreign directors, a lot of American ones, and everybody was from what I'm told, was given $5,000 to create a short, and they were given a letter from the alphabet, and just to interpret it however they wanted to.
I've never even heard of it.
It's
I've
awesome.
read about it. It seems like an incredible concept.
Yeah, and apparently they're working on a second one for 2014.
I like horror, and I had Rob start watching VHS, which is a horror anthology too.
Yeah, that one I would recommend too.
Yeah, it's really good. And it was funny too because when we were watching it, I was like, okay, the first one is the worst one. Like the first story.
The wraparound story, yeah.
No, not the wraparound. The one where the guys pick up the girls and they're wearing the glasses that they can see things, and they were like, no, it's really good.
Oh my
The
God,
second
that was
one's the best one
terrifying.
to me. Yeah, I loved that. The last one, not the wraparound, but the last one where the guys go to the Halloween party at the house.
Oh, yeah.
That is scary. Yeah, that one freaked me
Oh,
out.
well, I'm gonna have to finish that.
Yeah.
I will watch horror movies with Curtis. Dane is a big fan of horror movies. I just can't. I can't do it.
They're actually making a second one of VHS. I think it's already completed, if I'm not mistaken, and it's coming out.
Is it
this
Ty
year.
West? I like Ty West, strangely enough. He did,
Ty West actually was one of the 26 directors in ABCs
really?
of Death.
oh, he did The Innkeepers. He did House of the Devil. I really enjoy him. Okay. There's another horror movie that I really want to see. My mom refused to watch the trailer. I mean, I made her, but it's the Evil Dead remake.
I'm excited.
The trailer, the red band trailer, is nutballs. Like, it looks too scary. My mom's like, it's a
one of those,
devil movie.
Yeah, frightening trailers I have ever seen.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I remember seeing the original and freaking out. My brother showed it to me.
Did you see
I
the
thought
trailer?
I haven't
When-
seen the trailer.
When the trailer first
The
came out,
R-Band
you're like,
trailer
oh my
is
God, Evil
so
Dead. And
good.
I'm like, I grabbed my girlfriend, you got to see this. It's going to be really funny. It's a campy movie with Bruce Campbell. And then you're watching it and you're going, I need to go to the bathroom now. This is not fun. This is not campy. This looks horrifying.
And do you know who? Okay, so the script was, I think Sam Raimi had a lot to do with it, but the
Right.
script was punched up by Diablo Cody. She's the one who came in and punched that
So-
script up, not dialogue. She said, I did not write dialogue for that. I wrote jump scenes.
So at some point, a demon's going to get pregnant and then like kind of waltz around and give ironic looks to everything.
If
She
Michael
did
Cera
Jennifer's
comes out
body.
and dies, I'd be
Yeah.
fine
Megan
with it.
Fox is going to
Hipster
show up.
zombies.
They're going to make up some like, quirky language the entire time,
What the blog?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
What the blur?
Yeah. Anne Hathaway shows up, revenge on everyone.
I'll watch it if she dies.
What if
Just
Anne
saying.
Hathaway is the necromancer?
I think she's the Antichrist.
I believe you're supposed to say spoiler alert before.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Whoops.
Curtis doesn't believe in spoiler alerts.
No, sorry.
All these scary. I watched Paranormal Activity 4
Me
the other
too.
day and Sinister. And I'm such a pussy when it comes to horror movies. I watched Paranormal Activity 4 and like the people who was watching it, they fell asleep.
I watched
They were
Paranorman.
snoring. I screamed.
In 4?
I'm such a pussy. But then I got up after the movie. I went to the refrigerator and I opened the door and the peanut butter fell off and hit the floor. And I screamed like in the kitchen. I'm such a. So maybe I shouldn't see this ABCs of Death. Maybe
Sinister was good.
We should go
though.
see it together.
I
Hold
liked
my
Sinister.
hands,
Well, my
please.
problem with Sinister
breaking
was
my
that
hand.
a lot of the major scares were given away in the trailer.
I couldn't watch the trailer. Like I started the trailer and I was like, oh, it's
For
too
which
spooky.
movie?
Sinister.
Oh.
So
Watch the trailer now and then
Life
tell
of
me
Pi.
what you
and it'll say what?
That's in Life of Pi.
It was tense. But yeah, Sinister was good.
Sinister was good. I
Except why did Ethan Hawke not turn on one damn light? Turn the lights on. The whole movie he's walking around in the
It's
dark.
white people
Turn
problems
the lights on.
in
It
horror
is.
movies.
I'm glad
White
you
girls
said
run upstairs. People walk around their house in
the
the
attic.
pitch black. They go the light bulb, the flashlight goes out. I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't need to turn on anything.
Do you know what? It's funny you say that, though. That is why one of the scariest movies is Candyman, because there's no white people problems in that movie that Candyman doesn't get around.
Oh, Candyman's such a good movie.
It's such a scary
It
movie.
holds
because
up. I recently rewatched it. It really holds up.
I need to
yes.
add that to my romantic comedy.
especially if you live in Houston.
That's such. It's a
You
rom
can
com
cover
for the ages.
You can cover that on our
if you're
second.
third ward Houston, Candyman is a true story. So. But it's scary because it's based on like urban myths and prejudices, and like those things get to you, and like you're like, oh, I'm safe in my little white people apartment, and then Candyman says, oh, I'm coming through the medicine
Candyman
cabinet.
don't care.
Yeah, Candyman don't
Virginia
care.
Madsen.
Candyman snuck
Rob, are we
in.
officially on the
Yeah, I don't
topic
have
of
time
horror
for that.
movies?
Apparently we are.
Oh,
One of the greatest horror movie moments for me was back in like the early '90s. I believe there's a movie called Jack Frost.
oh.
And at the
With
same
Shannon
time,
Elizabeth.
That movie's
Michael
horrible.
Keaton released a kids movie called Jack Frost. So seeing people in Blockbuster buying their children Jack Frost for their kids was a good time.
I was about to say,
Doesn't
I thought
he
Michael
rape
Keaton,
her
it was
with
like
his
a family comedy
his,
called
uh,
Jack Frost.
Yes,
or
with his
something.
carrot. Yes, there is carrot rape
To
in
rape
that movie.
Shannon Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Who hasn't?
Well, It seems that we exhaust horror every time we get together. So by the time we get around to doing a horror podcast,
We're just gonna sit around talking about rom-coms. We can talk about.
Anne Hathaway could do a horror movie.
She is a horror movie.
she hasn't done a horror movie yet.
Well,
She kinda did a
Rachel getting married was
Supernatural.
kind of.
I
Jordan,
love
are you
Rachel.
really gonna make me post like Anne Hathaway's face again? For
No,
the third
yeah,
podcast?
no.
I think you. No, I don't want to see it. I'm
Right.
done.
Anne, if you're
Done with
listening, I still like you.
What?
I do. I remember you.
Well, we should be moseying on over to our main topic, which is romantic films. As we started off the podcast, we started off with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is one of my favorite romantic films. I love it. I think, I actually asked that question a lot to friends. Like, if you had the chance to erase your memories of the person that hurt you, would you? Like, would you guys, if you went through a breakup or you went through these feelings that you just don't want to go through anymore, would you erase those from your memory?
And kind of start all over.
Rob,
Huh?
you ask me that every Sunday morning after we've been out.
And often you do forget.
yeah. What happens? Where is my car?
You parked it in that Jack in a
Who
Box.
is he? Yeah. I veganly went to get a sourdough Jack from Jack in the Box.
Well, they have a vegan version of the sourdough jack.
Is it just the sourdough Jack?
I was gonna say.
Well, if you're drunk enough, you'll believe it's vegan.
I eat it and I lie and I feel bad about myself. I've only eaten 2 in a
He
year.
cries in his corner. It's so good.
How did we get on sourdough jack?
Oh, sorry.
It's romantic films.
I can't erase
You
that
eat
from my
cry.
memory.
They make you eat.
no, but
My
I-
feelings
I-
are hungry. They need a sourdough jack. Because I totally sit in the dark.
You're
and
very
eat.
emotional.
I know. I'll sit and eat ice cream and watch sappy
Political
dramas.
movies.
Political thrillers. Watch
top-
The Contender.
That's a love story.
I wouldn't. I think getting a little more serious about that. I think the experiences that we go through kind of makes us who we are, and why would you want to erase them? Especially if you dated Kate Winslet. I mean,
That's true. Which I've always wanted to.
She's a
can I
mess.
also add the detail? Punk Kate Winslet.
oh
so,
pu- yes, Clementine.
That,
She's
that was one
adorable
of my
in that
favorite
movie.
aspects of the film is the fact that both of them played against typecast, and like it is also one of my favorite picks for like a best romantic film. And I think like the director's whole point or the whole point of the story is just that like you can't help who you love, like, and even though they completely forgot about each other, they still found a way to like find each other and start all over.
Oh, because they did in the end, right? Oh.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. In case you haven't seen it in the last 17 years.
I haven't seen it since it came out. I think I've only seen it twice. I'll rewatch it.
And you still don't like it?
I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it. It's just not one of my favorite movies to see.
Sorry, it isn't The English Patient, and
That's my pick. I don't know. Like, not that a
having
love story
Juliette
has to be
Binoche-
tragic.
not Juliette Binoche, Christian
Kristen
Scott
Scott
Thomas in a
Exactly.
cave.
I can't think of a modern when we start talking about like romance. I can't think of a modern romance that really affected me like the way you guys talk about Eternal Sunshine, because it's very modern. Like even with Kate Winslet being so punk and like her hair color changing, but I can't think of a modern one that's that good.
Well, let's let Brenda go first. Kind of go down her list of films that she felt that best represented her romantic boner.
Definitely, I think Eternal Sunshine would be at the top of it. But I also have a German film from the same year, 2004. The English title was called Head On, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce the German title. But it's directed by Fatih Akin, and the movie's like, I don't know, it's a jacked up love story. But
What was the
it's
name of the
really
movie
sweet.
again?
Head On. It's
Never mind. Apparently that didn't work at all.
I totally forgot.
Our producer Dan had this great comeback to that, and he just spaced.
I totally forgot what it was. Nope.
Never mind. Moving on.
Okay, moving on. Yeah, it's these two. I guess like the way we have like a lot of Mexican immigrants here in the United States. Germany has a lot of Turkish immigrants, so it's two like first generation German people of Turkish descent who kind of have this agreement to kind of have like a fake relationship or marriage in order for her to be able to get out of the house, and they actually end up falling in love, and all these things happen to them. I thought it was really unconventional and a little jacked up, but I thought it was really sweet. The love story at the core of the
Brenda,
movie.
what was the name of that movie again?
The name of the movie is Head On.
Was that the sequel to Face Off?
Dan, you're a pervert.
We waited for almost 3 minutes for that joke.
It's all about timing, Jordan.
I'm
Moving
just
on.
saying. I'm just
No,
teasing.
no,
I'm
because
teasing.
Head On is the opposite of Face Off.
Oh, okay. If you need to explain it,
That's
then the joke
That's
didn't
the
work.
genius
I was
behind it.
always told.
Face Off was a movie with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on. It's based on a true life story, but Sid and Nancy. It's directed by Alex Cox from 1986. Another really unconventional, kind of fucked up love story, but
What kind of love do you want in your
I
life?
know. What do you expect from love?
I'm not.
And you're gonna close it out with like Dancer in the Dark or something. Oh, that's not a romantic film. Sorry.
No, I think I guess when just like you see so many romantic comedies that they just kind of feel like they're a little factory churn and there's like a formula with them. So when I see something like this, it kind of feels a little bit more real. Like
Yeah.
love is not all cookie cutter, and it doesn't work out the same for everybody, and it's in different circumstances, and I think all these things kind of make everybody's stories different. So when I see, more unconventional stories like this, they kind of call my attention more.
Like Lolita.
I think if I had a top three, sort of, I guess number 3 would be Buffalo 66. Written, directed, starring, scored,
yeah. Costumes by.
everything by Vincent Gallo
Makeup, lighting.
from 1998.
I will say Angelica Houston was amazing in that movie. That is all.
Yeah, the movie, I to be honest, on the first viewing, I kind of was a little bored. After a few more viewings, I kind of learned to appreciate it a little bit more. There were at times kind of felt like just Vincent Gallo was like filleting himself, but
That's the second movie.
Yeah,
Brown
Chloe
Bunny.
Bunny.
Brown
Sevigny was
Bunny.
doing that. Yeah.
no, it was Chloe. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, Chloe Sevigny. I guess I could see that too, but it just also seemed like, his character was very self-conscious, and through this journey that he actually ended up with, Christina Ricci's character, he kind of like learned not to be cheesy, but learned to love himself, and found somebody that loved him, just as he was.
I think it was kind of weird that he popped up in 2 Days in New York, the movie you made me watch. That was terrible by Julie Delpy.
Oh,
thought
that
it was
fantastic
cute.
film.
I love
Thank
that
you,
movie.
Brenda. That was a wonderful film.
Vincent Gallo was in that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he buys her soul.
He's
Spoiler
the one
alert.
Don't worry, no one's going to see that movie.
Nobody
he bought
will.
it.
Oh, 2 Days in New York. No, I thought you were talking about 2 Days in Paris.
Yeah, it's the sequel, but it's still the same characters. and
I love
everything.
2 Days in Paris.
Then
I've
you'll
not
like
seen
2 Days in New York.
2 Days in New York, yeah.
Rob
Well,
hates French people.
just to recap, Brenda's favorite romantic films are Head On, Sid and Nancy, and Buffalo 66. I think thematically we should move it over to Jordan because he seems to like the same kind of movies.
I love romantic comedies. When I was trying to think of my favorite movies, kind of one of my go-to films, which everyone makes fun of me for, is The Other Sister, which
For no reason.
It shows
it
that
out
you
of your system.
it shows that you have a soul.
I don't have a soul, but I do like that movie. But it's a sweet film. It's never
Did
going
you
to win
sell
an
it to
award.
Vincent
It's-
Gallo, your soul?
Yeah, well,
Anne Hathaway has your soul.
I know there's a lot of Scientologists in it, and Juliette Lewis is in it. And
Giovanni Ribisi.
But it's a really sweet movie. That's one. But I have to say my favorite romantic film, I think, of all time, and I think just because it means a lot in the history of my development as a young gay man, was Beautiful Thing, which came out in '96 as a British film, and it's about, and this was in an age before Facebook, before Grindr, before the internet. There was a world before all of these things. And it's these two British
We met
I don't
on
believe that.
libraries.
these two teenage boys that live in a housing project in London, in East London, and they, despite a lot of different odds, find each other, and it's just this really sweet movie, and there's a really great story arc with the mother, and it's just a really incredible kind of a sneaks up on you and snacks you around kind of movie. But
I like that.
and there's some Mama Cass
I love that movie.
stuff, and there's
I love that
the
character.
slow dancing to Mama Cass is just breaks my heart every time.
Is that the
And,
last scene of the movie?
and it's incredible. And the other, I would have to say the other, and this is kind of going to be an unconventional choice, but I think, and my boyfriend would make fun of me because I hated this movie when I first saw it, but
Jordan's
Wall-E is one of my favorite like romantic
Wall-E,
films.
yeah, I know, I
the
love that.
animated, the Pixar film about the trash collector in the future. But it's such a sweet. It's one of the few films that really kind of got to me, and I hated it when I first saw it, and on subsequent viewings, I've really kind of enjoyed getting to appreciate it more.
Wally's beautiful.
I love that movie, and it's making me kind of tear up a little bit just thinking about it. And
That's his soul trying to get out.
Trying to
and
escape.
and I think all of the movies I like have slow dancing in them. Maybe that's something. I'll bring that up with my psychoanalyst. What slow dancing means to
You're
me.
like, what does
You
this
need
It
to
was a little
skip-
depressing on the first viewing, Wall-E, because I mean, it puts a lot of other, topics in your face that probably people don't want to like think about. But just the fact, the little love story between Wall-E and the iPod-looking chick.
Oh, I'm gonna
When does the
rewatch
old
that.
couple
never
die
even-
in that one?
I'm sorry.
When does the old couple die?
In that
That's
movie,
That's
Up.
up.
That's
Okay.
that's also a sweet movie.
Yeah.
But
I was not
Wall-E-
expecting a ball in the first 5 minutes of that movie.
And I just movies about underdogs are just there's just something special.
I don't know
there
about Disney Pixar movies being underdogs, but I get your point.
You mean
Well,
the
I mean,
character?
the character,
Yeah,
the
the
character
character.
of Wall-E is
Okay, sorry.
he's not pretty and he's not fancy, but he's got a good heart. I just,
Yeah.
Remind you of anyone?
Dan.
Me.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Dan hates me.
Well, actually, you reminded me of one of my favorite movies that you gave me my aha moment of a film that I thought it was a beautiful film, and you were kind of getting mad at me earlier that in my selection of romantic films, none of them were gay films, but
Ella Enchanted.
yes, it's Bent
Bent.
Brandon Knotts is
with
in it.
Clive Owen. Who else is in it?
Mila Kunis.
No, Clive Owen, Mick Jagger,
Gary Oldman.
and I think Jude Law's in it for. It's a beautiful film. Have you ever seen it? It's a film where these two gay men meet in a concentration camp and fall in love, and it's just
You have a hard time finding people to date. Try doing it in Auschwitz.
Where do they go?
They don't. There's a scene
There's
that's
a discotheque at Auschwitz.
it's the shower.
Hey, we've all been there.
You know, there's gays in those bathhouses.
There's a scene where they're kind of consummating their love for each other.
Anti-Semitic.
There's no pope. No one cares.
Quavanzane's the new pope. Go on.
Oh, I saw that clip.
Did you see?
Oh, sorry.
Never mind.
Well,
Sidetrack.
definitely Bent's one of my favorite films, and I think I might not be in the same vein as far as style with Brenda, but I think my picks are just equally as tragic. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Bent, and Atonement. Atonement is just what a sucker punch of a movie in the end that you just walk away. It's like, it's just Vanessa Redgrave when she comes clean. I hated
And
her
do you
so
remember
much.
when that movie came out? It was playing it up like it was this great romantic like drama, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be so romantic. And no,
really not.
it's
I wanna
not
slip my
romantic.
wrist,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like
No,
it's
I was
a
dating this guy at the
serious-
time, and I'm bawling after the movie. He's like, "It was okay." I'm like, "You have no soul."
You're still going out with him.
Actually, my current boyfriend fell asleep to it, so he didn't get to the ending. So I'm not gonna say that
can't
about him
judge.
just yet.
thought that was
But for
romantic.
me, it was Atonement, Eternal Sunshine, which we've spoken about, and Bent. I mean, these films, like Brenda said, are unconventional romantic films that. I had 13 going on 30 in there just because I love that movie. Anything with Mark Ruffalo is kind of a hit
He's
for me.
adorable.
You're like, it's romantic if it has Mark Ruffalo.
Because he's looking at you.
Yeah.
Avengers is definitely one of the most romantic movies I've ever seen.
And
This-
he's in Eternal Sunshine too.
yes.
Actually,
In his
In his
underwear.
tidy whities.
Good point.
Ooh, Mark Ruffalo.
The kids are all right. His sex scenes with Julianne Moore. Yes, please
He's a sexy
more.
man. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
So
how do you
Curtis,
spell that movie now? Slowly.
the kids are all right.
Oh, you've never seen that?
You've seen
You're not
Julianne Moore's
missing
boobs.
Yeah, I was
yeah.
almost going to say that. It's funny because I was just saying when we were talking about this, I couldn't think of a contemporary romance I liked. But The Kids Are All Right is a romance that I really like because it was like a real couple going through real couple things. But that's not what I'm going to pick. I love The English Patient. I know a lot of people don't. It's a little dry for some people.
I want to rewatch it. You have that
Yeah.
Miramax Best Picture box
Yes,
set, and I
yeah.
want to borrow that.
Shakespeare in Love's on there too. But The English Patient is so good, and there's so many different versions of love. So the movie could be a tragic love story, but it's also like Juliette Binoche falls in love in the movie, and she loves this patient. And to me, the movie is just about love.
And he's English.
He's exactly. And then what I love about the movie, too, is I saw it with my grandmother, and she was taking this, like, I don't remember how old I was, must have been 13, this 13-year-old kid to see this 2.5-hour art movie with, like, a lot of boobies, and I mean, and she, like, explained to me, like, this is art, and this is, you know, it's something respectable, and nudity's not, you know, bad unless it's just for the sake of nudity, and she, like, really, like, walked me through it, and so I always remember that movie being so romantic, because my grandma took me, but but I love that movie, and it's just beautiful in every way. The score is beautiful, the costumes are beautiful, everything. And I know that some people find it really dry.
I want to rewatch it.
I love it.
I love epic films and period pieces. You mean the other day I was sick and I went home. I went to Half Price Books and I just bought some movies. I got Gosford Park. What else did I get? Quills and House of Mirth.
Yes.
Like, this is what's going to make me feel better.
Well, I did, and then when I was looking at all the romantic movies I liked, a lot of them are unrequited love. I mean, there's a 40s movie with Bette Davis called Now Voyager that I love, which I made my mom watch. But when I think of contemporary ones, it's like the kids are all writing Brokeback Mountain, which makes me look like a total... I don't know. But but I am, so that's okay. You know, and those movies speak to me. Annie Hall's really the penultimate of romance, because that movie makes sense to anyone.
That list that we were going through earlier, the AFI 100 Years of Romantic Films or Romance, Manhattan's on there, and you just made me watch Manhattan. So
Did you like it?
I did up until the ending.
It's a very cynical. Okay, so here's the thing: the characters are cynical, but I don't think the Woody Allen character is cynical. I actually think he's very hopeful about love. That's why he goes out with Diane Keaton in the movie. That's why he still loves that teenage girl. He's hopeful about love. And I
But
think
he completely spits in the face of that character at the end, when he just like
because he's people make bad decisions, but I think he's still. We had this whole debate because the ending he makes kind of an about face, and it changes the way you see this character. But I think he's still a romantic person, and when you're romantic, you're a little unrealistic. I think, not to say all romantic, but you are. When you're romantic, you think things are going to happen this big, grand way. And he told this girl that he broke up with, don't leave, quit your life, and come with me. And she said no. Well, when you're in love with love, you're going to ask someone to do that crazy stuff. Rob liked it more than he'll admit.
What did you think of 500 Days of Summer? Did you think that was a good...
I forgot about that movie.
Because as a modern love story, it's kind of it kind of reminds me of Eternal Sunshine a little, kind of that... Maybe because the chronology is off, or it just has kind of that quirkiness. But I'm not a Zooey Deschanel fan, but I thought she was cute in it, and I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I thought it was it
is really good. I forgot
original
about that.
Film, and
I'm sad I forgot.
The thing I liked was kind of through his point of view, because I see a lot of romantic comedies, especially with unrequited love, being more from the female's point of view, and this is kind of the guy's take on it. How much he loved her and how much Like
it's a modern Remains of the Day. It's which is a really great romantic film. It just came to my mind. But,
that is a good movie.
About unrequited love and kind of that's just a heartbreaking ending.
But you know what I loved about 500 Days of Summer, because I'm self-centered.
Emma Thompson and
Anthony
Hopkins.
They're the butlers, right?
The butler and the
and
housekeeper.
they can never be together.
And they can't be together because they're
too
trapped by
prideful
this British class system, and it's just a really heartbreaking film at the end.
But see, I saw that after Howard's End, and Howard's End is just
way better.
I love Howard's End so much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
so what were you saying, Curtis?
Oh, what was I saying? Oh, I was saying I like 500 Days of Summer because I got the Zooey Deschanel character. Like, I understood what she was doing, and so every time he was frustrated with her, I was like, oh, I get it. Like that one time where he's like, why did you dance with me? And she's like, because I wanted to.
Oh, isn't that what you're going through right now? You're just
every day of my life.
I think another film we brought up not too long ago that I love, just in general, but it is, and the romantic part is just like a small part of it, was Amelie.
The what?
Amelie.
Great.
And you're saying that the romantic part is only a small part?
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't start off, it's not what the whole movie's centered around.
But it builds up to that,
It
though.
builds up to it, and it's a part of it, but I don't think that's the whole point of the movie. I think it's more about like what she ends up doing for other people, and in turn kind of like self-love, because the whole speech the older man gives her about like if you don't go for it, you're gonna end up old and bitter like me, and so the romance is part of it, but I don't want to call it I don't think that was the whole point of the film.
But I think that's what's great about, and I'm glad you chose a foreign film, and so did Jordan. It was seeing love from a different culture's perspective is so interesting. Like from a French perspective, it's totally different, and from an English perspective, like Love Actually, there's a reason Love Actually is better than Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve.
There's a lot of reasons. There's not just one. That's not just it.
There's about 24
Don't even
actors.
bring up Valentine's Day.
But you know what I mean? Like that we have such. I mean, and that movie's dramatic and has gravitas, and it's sappy, and
it shows all these different types of love as well.
Yes,
like the aging rock star and his manager.
Yes, and I love there's Under the Tuscan Sun.
That's one of my favorite movies.
And do you know I watch it when I'm feeling like bad or sad or like after my breakup, like when I watch it 20 times. But it's one of those movies like you keep expecting her to meet a guy, and she keeps meeting men. But it's not right. It's the guy's married, or the guy, she misses him and they can't make it work. And the movie's not about that. It's not about her finding a man. It's about her finding herself.
It's almost like a romance with herself.
Yes.
It's almost, it's a very introverted, romantic kind of projection.
Which is telling because it's written and directed by a lesbian.
That is true.
And so that's why I think it makes it a little not that stereotypical. She's going to find a man. She's going to fall in love. Her real longest relationship in the movie is with her best friend.
Yeah.
And I love Lindsay Duncan's character. She's just so...
Yes.
She's just so amazing, and just wherever she shows up. And she's the older British lady that was Fellini's muse. And
she was in Alice in Wonderland, actually.
Oh,
she was the mother in Alice in Wonderland.
And Doctor Who fans know her. She's in a really famous Doctor Who
she's
episode.
On Rome.
Which episode?
Water on Mars.
How many Doctor
The Waters of Mars?
Yeah.
She's the astronaut.
When did you start watching Doctor Who?
I'm a big Doctor Who fan.
I did not. Did I know
I'm
this?
not.
No.
Why do you hide this? You shouldn't be embarrassed.
We're
I'm
on
not
Robin
embarrassed.
Jordan's first date over here.
That is a good point you bring up about foreign. I love foreign films in general, but that is a good point to seeing, especially like on this topic, romantic films that are seeing it from a different point of view.
Like Amour. Rob and I saw Amour.
I haven't seen it yet, but
okay, to say that
a riveting romantic comedy.
Did you finally watch it?
I didn't.
To say that you liked it would be defeating the purpose.
I love to see movies alone. That's my thing. Is to go
it's
alone.
the best.
And I won't go alone to see Amour. For some reason, there's something about it, and maybe it's the Oscar clip where he slaps
Why did they
her,
show that clip?
And
That's like
I don't wanna-
one of two things that actually happened in that movie.
That was such a moment where he's just trying to take care of his wife. He's trying to take care of her. He's trying to take care of her, and she just wants to die.
This season, this award season,
Spoiler,
was the
clip
season of the
spoilers.
spoiler.
Oh, they did that with Flight.
Like Flight was a big spoiler. Like all the clips they were
Still haven't seen
showing, that was like the emotional pinnacle of the film. They were showing some really like, why are you showing that scene? And Zero Dark 30, there were some clips of one of the main characters, kind of a very big turning point. One of those scenes where everyone in the audience is like, no. And they showed that at one of the, it's a scene where one of the, I don't want to give it away for people, but when Jennifer Ely's character.
Dumbledore dies.
Oh,
Yeah.
they did show that.
They showed it, and I was like,
For, like,
that is-
sound editing.
That was such a shock moment. And that scene, the way that Bigelow kind of builds up to that scene, there's a really nice emotional payoff when you're watching the film, and it just ruined it. The same about American films too. Lars and the Real Girl, we were talking about that off air. As an American film, that's a kooky kind of love story that I really enjoyed. I'm not into the Nicholas Sparks, Twilight, Bella. I'm choosing
Two
between
very different.
Two very different.
First of all, let's say, okay, so Nicholas Sparks, yes, he like churns them out. But if you watch them,
He's the white Tyler Perry, right?
Taylor Perry.
Tyler Perry is the white Tyler Perry.
Tyler.
Well,
We went to Auschwitz. We might as well go to Tyler Perry.
I'd
All
rather
work
stay
I did hear somebody talk about Twilight the other day. They were like, it's a really great movie about a girl who's trying to figure out if she wants to be into
bestiality or necrophilia.
or
Necrophilia.
Necrophilia. I was like, I might watch it. That's
No, not enough of a reason to watch any of
It's
those.
sweet, but it's unreal. It's totally unrealistic. I think that's another reason I like these unconventional ones, is that I don't know, they seem a little bit more true to life.
Yeah, exactly. No, so go see Amour. don't expect to feel good at the end, but I think it's Michelle. Is that how we're saying his name now? Michelle Haneke. His
Yeah.
movies are not here to make you feel good. It's
No.
like it's aggressive and it's
They're here to slap you around.
yes. And I feel
Like
like
tell you to wake up.
yeah, I feel like remember those movies that came out like when we were all growing up when you had to like sneak to your parents couldn't know about it. They were so indie, like the Doom generation, and like they were so like aggressive and weird, and that's what Michelle Haneke is doing, and I love it.
Well, we got not our first topic, but we got through our topic, and I think we have a nice, well-rounded selection of romantic films. We're just gonna talk a little bit about upcoming releases because our next topic for our next podcast is spring releases. So, is there anything particular you're excited about?
Any day now.
That technically came out last year.
I don't care, but it's new for me.
Just stuff that's coming out in the spring, or just stuff that's coming up? Because I know Anchorman's coming out. Evil Dead was mentioned.
Evil Dead's a spring release.
Okay.
This is the
okay,
period
then
before
Evil Dead is
the summer
definitely-
releases.
Gotcha.
When did Any Day Now come out?
It opened in November in New York and Los Angeles.
Well, that doesn't count. We're not in New York or Los Angeles.
Well,
Those of us in the flyover states, it's new for us.
Yeah, we were talking about. So Stoker comes out next week. I'm dying
Yeah,
to see Stoker.
Oh, I love
I can't wait to
that.
see
looks
Stoker.
interesting.
Okay, so I've only seen one of his movies. Have you seen Thirst?
Yes.
Okay, I've never seen Thirst.
You haven't seen Thirst?
No, I've seen
You'll
Old Boy.
love Thirst.
Did he did Sympathy for Lady Vengeance?
Yes.
Okay.
He did the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
I've only
the-
seen that one.
They're actually showing it out. Can I talk about this? Alamo Drafthouse. They're doing all his films. The
Yeah.
whole.
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. I just didn't know if we could. I had a blown out moment there for a
That
second.
actually passed. I think.
You know, I don't like your opinion.
So I'll be watching
so
that
I'm
at
just
home.
gonna go-
Well, I don't. You know, and
It's
that's-
Park Chan-wook, right?
Yep, Park Chan-wook.
Yeah, and this is his first English language, and I cannot.
That
it looks-
trailer is just amazing.
Yeah.
His movies are twisted. In
You've
every
seen the
single
trailer,
way.
right,
They're
Jordan?
great.
That's why I
Stoker?
wonder because
Yeah,
they're
I have.
remaking
That
Old
looks really
Boy. I wonder
interesting.
how they're going to be able to hide that ending because that ending is an emotional twist.
My
what?
whole thing, I'm
Old
still
Boy.
kind of like, I'm still very, what's it called, apprehensive about this.
Who do they
remake.
cast in,
Spike Lee can. I think Spike Lee's studio movies. I'll say they're good.
Yeah.
But Spike Lee's political movies, I'm over. But I think I don't know. I
25th
think he'll do
Hour, Inside Man. I mean, the guy.
Yeah. I think he can do
really
some-
hate, because I've seen it, a lot of times when they'll remake a foreign film, they'll kind of sugarcoat the original ending, and that just
See, I don't
gets
think
me.
Spike Lee will.
I don't think Spike Lee
I do
will.
think some directors have. I'm trying to think of an example of something that got remade.
Michelle Haneke remaking Funny Games.
He shot by
film.
shot remade his own film.
That's a wonderful, wonderful true story.
But who
Um,
was cast in Old Boy?
I keep hearing things back and forth. Is
It's
it still
Josh.
Will Smith?
It's done. They already made it. It's Josh Brolin, Elizabeth Olsen, and Sharlto Copley, who was
Oh!
in District 9.
District 9, yeah, he's a South African
He's
actor.
the villain.
He was actually also in
Oh.
the A-Team remake, not remake, but the A-Team
Terrible.
movie. I haven't seen it.
I don't know. Liam
Well,
Neeson
coming
looked
out in
like
the
a
next
daddy in
few
it.
weeks, we have the incredible Burt Wonderstone. Anybody excited about that?
Not completely, like
Did that
the
movie literally
it's
take
the
5
Lincoln
years to
of
make? Because I've been
2013,
hearing about
I
that one for a very long time.
It's with Steve Carell, Steve Buscemi, and Jim Carrey and magicians. This WWE, is that what the production company is?
Did The Call?
The Call, the new Holly Berry
Let's talk
movie.
about Spring Breakers.
Oh,
That-
Spring
oh my God.
Breakers.
Does it not look crazy?
Yes,
Harmony
and it's
Korine.
Harmony
Actually,
Korine.
can we refer to as Oscar award-winning actress Halle
Halle
Berry?
Berry?
from now
Oh,
on when she's mentioned on
please.
this
Who wears the
podcast?
same haircut
In
to every
Gothica.
red carpet?
Yeah.
And, yeah, Halle Berry, get your
Nobody
hair.
holds that against Nicole Kidman.
Listen, okay, so I was reading a review for Stoker. This is cracking me up. And Roger Ebert was saying he really liked the movie. And then in the end, he said, Nicole Kidman is good. It seems that she's temporarily stopped using whatever she's been putting in her face to stop it from showing the natural age process. I mean, like, he put it in his review for that movie.
Wow.
So when it's getting that shady, like, come on, lighten your face up.
Yeah, I
Like,
was gonna say maybe her not having like any, not the ability to move her face, like being so stoic for this movie would work.
But it's like, I can't describe what is wrong. It's not her forehead. It's like her lips and
Her forehead moves. I noticed that
Yeah.
at the Oscar. She has, and a lot of actresses don't have movement in their face
it's the
anymore.
big lips. The lips
It's the
push into.
cheeks and jawline. It's. a
She's
very
not even.
odd-
She's barely into her 40s, and Naomi Watts looks more natural than her.
Yes,
her
I saw
dress
that. I think it was
gorgeous.
the Golden Globes. Like they got a shot of them next to each other, and they're around the same age, and I was like, what a difference.
Yes.
So Harmony Korine. Anybody excited
Breakers.
about Spring Breakers?
I am.
I didn't realize the whole score is done by a dubstep group. So the whole score is going to be a dubstep, which I hate. So I'm like,
Sign me up. What's dubstep?
I don't know yet.
Is that something?
I'm taking you guys to a dubstep club.
Get us out of here.
No, it
We're
will.
going to Blur.
The music.
I was the one who wanted Billy Crystal back at the Oscars. I don't think dubstep is Glenn Campbell in town.
Speaking of Oscars and lack thereof, can we bring up The Great Gatsby? And that's coming out.
I'm really excited.
That's a
so
summer
excited,
release,
that's
so we can't
summer.
cover that one yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Prematurely.
Yeah.
Prematurely.
No,
Projected.
Hey, if our next topic is spring releases, then that's
He's
what we're
right.
covering.
He's
And
right.
we're going to
Stick
talk
to
about
the
G.I.
rules.
Joe Retaliation then.
The what?
G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Oh, that is no. Is that a summer release? No.
It's March.
GI. If it was, wait, is it just
28.
GI retaliation, like gastrointestinal retaliation?
It's a documentary about IBS.
Starring Bruce Willis.
Sorry, Bruce.
I'm a triple threat singer, dancer, IBS survivor.
Admission with Tina Fey,
Oh,
Paul
I'm excited
Rudd.
about that. That looks
But
so cute.
why is she funnier at herself than she is in movies? I've never seen her funny in a movie.
Oh, really?
Ever.
She plays, because in movies she kind of plays the straight man.
Why does she have to do that?
And she did it in the movie with
She
Steve
does that in
Carell.
30 Rock. She's a straight man.
No,
in that
she's
shit.
hilarious in 30 Rock, though.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
She's hilarious.
She's hilarious
Yeah.
on 30 Rock.
Rob, how dare you disrespect 30 Rock? It's dead and buried.
It does kind of seem like Admission.
Digging it up.
It's the same character from Baby Mama.
Yeah.
It's Date Night, Baby Mama, this, even Mean Girls. Like, it's just like, come on.
But she does also play to her audience. She knows what people want to see. She's certainly not hurting in the work category.
No,
So,
but I
mean,
just-
it's a formula that's worked for her.
Just do something different.
But she does get in a rut. Like I feel there's a new movie with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy coming out.
That
just-
trailer is terrible.
I think it's hilarious. I
mean,
love
but
Melissa McCarthy.
I know she's trying to get as much money. Her cousin Ginny was like, "Girl, save it, make it while you can."
She's like, you're going to start writing books.
Because
about
it's
it.
gonna run out.
It's
But
Paul Feig, and I really like that director.
I just hope she doesn't get stuck because I think she's
Yeah,
a
'cause
really
she
great
keeps doing like
comedic
the same
actress.
character.
But she's gonna have Will Ferrell syndrome, where it's just she's gonna play the same
But then
character over
then,
and over, and
just
then
like
she's gonna
Jim
die
Carrey,
like Meg Ryan.
No, just like Jim Carrey and Will Ferrell, she'll get a role like Eternal Sunshine or Stranger Than Fiction, where it'll really show her breaking that.
That really
typecast.
worked for Will Ferrell.
I think it did.
No,
Well,
I mean,
see,
he
Will
is
Ferrell
good.
in general, I think he's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is. There was a period where he was just very typecast. He's just doing the same thing.
Melissa McCarthy.
Stranger
I mean,
Than Fiction, fantastic.
It's
little movie.
I
Very
love Stranger
good.
Than
He's
Fiction.
wonderful, yeah.
We actually should have brought that up in the romantic segment.
Well, we
Yeah,
also
he
have we already talked about G.I. Joe.
Gastro.
The Place Beyond the Pines. He's
that-
really
it's
excited about.
Derek,
The host.
Derek Cianfrance. I don't know how to say it. He did Blue
Oh,
Valentine,
CM France, yeah.
which if you've seen
the
Blue
host,
Valentine,
which is
That looks interesting.
I haven't
Yeah.
even seen a trailer for that one.
Oh, Dead Man Down, I think, comes
Series
out
Oh.
this week.
Ronan.
MFA just booked this. Room 237.
oh, the documentary about The Shining.
Yep.
I want to see.
I
that.
need to go see that. I adore The Shining, and only because my father physically resembles Jack Nicholson, and because he acts like that.
We have Jurassic Park returns to the big screen in 3D. Evil Dead is April 5th. Trance, which is a new Danny Boyle movie.
Oh, I just saw the trailer for that.
So I'm going to
today.
be in France when Evil Dead comes out. I'm going to go see it in French. Here's what's funny. I was looking at movies in France because anytime I'm on vacation, I like to go to the movies I just think it's so much fun. They are playing movies. They're playing an American remake of a French film, and they're only playing it in France. They're not playing it in America.
What movie?
It's called Passion. It's Noomi Rapace and Rachel McAdams. Brian De Palma did it. And the original film is amazing. It's on Netflix streaming. It's Ludivine Saunier and Kristen Scott Thomas. And it's a French, kind of working girl meets Lord of the Flies. And the remake looks terrible.
I just pictured Joan Cusack running through the jungle.
Avoiding coconut trees.
Joan Cusack as Piggy.
That's broadcast news.
Oh, I just thought of the movie for spring I'm most excited about. It's called Wrong. It's by the director of Rubber. I'm totally gonna.
Oh
one with
yes,
the
Paul.
tire.
Yeah.
Was it good?
Jack Plotnick is
Yeah,
in
I know.
that.
I just recently found out that he
love
was
Jack Plotnick.
Evie in Girls Will Be Girls.
He's so off. I love Jack
That trailer
Plotnick.
for Wrong is just so weird. But yeah, in our next podcast, we're going to be covering spring releases, so everybody should do a little bit of homework this time, hopefully, maybe. and maybe at least watch the trailers for some of this stuff that comes out in the next few months. But I think we're going to be wrapping up soon. Anybody have any last words, thoughts?
What should we assign ourselves to watch?
Most of the stuff that I just mentioned right now.
Or at least the trailers.
Yes, the trailers
what
at
I
least.
just said.
I will rewatch Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind by the next time we see each other.
We're going to screen it at the theater one night soon. So I just bought it on
yeah.
Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Did anybody watch Bad Boy Bubby from?
No,
brought up
I
on-
didn't.
Oh,
yet.
it's on my queue.
Yeah, I got it on eBay.
It's definitely on my.
I feel like
to-do
it's gonna be
list.
like the tape from The Ring. Like I'm gonna put it in there, and next thing you know, like I'm gonna have 7 days to live. I won't make it to the next podcast. Something will walk out of the screen.
So,
But I'm 51% matter. So,
and I guess
how
we'll be
I feel.
replacing Curtis
and
in the next
Hathaway,
podcast.
would you die if she was sitting here while you guys were like talking shit on it? Sorry,
You
that
know
was
what we
some
do?
physical
If
comedy.
maybe she's completely
So-
different person, like those skits on Saturday Night Live with the Queen of England, where she's like really rough and thuggy.
I
when
bet.
no one's in the room. She just smack us around.
So what we should do is, Curtis, you said you're going to France, right? Mm-hmm. What we're going to do is get a laptop, wake his ass up, get him on Skype, and we'll just have the microphone right in front of the laptop. So that way, and we'll put a picture.
If you
of,
do
like-
it at not, if you do it at 8, it's a 7-hour difference, so I
Yeah.
might be awake.
He'll still be up.
Yeah. I'll be listening to dubstep.
From the
This is
disco
dubstep.
tape.
He's gonna be smoking, eating his
French
baguettes.
I got a baguette and a cigarette.
The beret.
Just, yeah, a cigarette, one of those really long holders, and like a beret.
I
what
might.
happened
When
to
I step
you?
off that plane, bonjour. They're like, sir, you're not French. I don't know.
You log into your grinder immediately.
I
Hello,
love
Grindr.
Tintin. It was great.
Yeah. Mom, here's all my pictures. Sorry, Mom, I won't.
Well, thank you guys for getting together, and I think I had some fun. Don't know yet, so
I'm still.
That's why we
processing.
recorded it.
Yeah,
so we'll
so
know
we
for
could
sure.
remind
we'll find out after when we listen. So hopefully, those of you out there who are listening enjoyed this.
We'll need it when Hannah Hathaway sues us. It'll be state's evidence against us. Libel and slander.
I'm so far. We have who did we just put on a shit list by accident? Martin Luther King.
I've never.
Holocaust.
Holocaust
Jews.
survivors.
But do you know who is on our side? Jessica Chastain. So I'm gonna call her later.
And she kicks some serious ass.
If she can, she is gonna do that movie. She's gonna do Miss Julie. That's a whole other podcast.
We really should just make a running list. I think
Of
when
all
we
the
get
people we've
website up.
offended.
I don't want to put Anne Hathaway on there. Or people that we've shit on.
we don't
Yeah.
want to draw attention to it.
No,
Anne Hathaway.
It'll
Let's
just fly under her radar.
leave it alone. Well, thank you guys, and this is Rob from Movies a Podcast, joined by once again.
Curtis.
Brenda.
Jordan.
Dan.
Oh yes, Dan. All right, bye.
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 My pants.
But there wasn't overall the telecast. I thought for the Oscars was terrible.
It was
Dullsville.
a little dull. I think the most exciting thing was that tie for sound editing or something.
I know we're
there's
like,
never
I
oh,
was like, "Is this a
tie.
that can happen.
But you know what's funny, and it just could be because we're old. I'm the youngest, but everyone
by like 2
by
months.
a
people.
week. But everybody younger than us loved it.
Yeah,
I think I had a
it
lot
was
of
like 40
20-year-olds.
million viewers, and,
Yeah.
and it was able to.
How old am I? I was like, where's Billy Crystal? I want Billy Crystal
Where's
back.
Whoopi? Yeah.
Phyllis
Where's
Diller
Bob
wasn't
Hope?
in the memoriam. What the hell?
Kind of feel like Billy Crystal thought the same thing.
No, I mean, it was an interesting. The thing that really made me warm up to Jennifer Lawrence and really dislike Anne Hathaway more was the backstage interviews. You know, when they win, they take them downstairs and you go and you do the press room. And Jennifer Lawrence was kooky and funny, and she even told
She's
them,
awesome.
she's like, I took a shot before I got out here. Sorry. And so she was just like all over the place. Anne Hathaway, oh my God, she was full of herself. She went out there and they were like, what did you mean in your speech when you said the dream came true? And she stops, tears up. She's like, well, I just had a dream, and it came true.
She dreamed a dream.
And she
Nobody
turned
gives a
around
shit. Nobody
and shielded
cares.
herself from the audience. And then she started talking about how it really affects her that people are critical of her. I was like, oh, my God.
There's what
She
48%,
less
48% of antimatter, and
Yeah, she went through a whole speech about, well, the world is 49% antimatter and 51% matter, and so it always tips in the side of positivity. And if you live your life with compassion like I do, and I was like, oh, my God.
Right.
Take
Phyllis
it back!
Diller's dead, but Anne Hathaway's still with us. That's proof there is no God.
But that's what sucks is it's such a good performance. It is a good performance. She is a good actress, but she's so disingenuous.
But I mean, you and I were keeping track of every win that she had and how her speeches were by the number.
Ready to go.
Oh, is that what we're recording?
All right, whenever you want to give us the go ahead.
I think to consider that live, that's a great way. Right when they're going, I can tell the difference between 9 and 11 inches.
That's a good way of starting
It's
it.
that 10th inch that really makes a difference.
The itch or the inch?
And that clip was from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That kind of kicks off our segment this week with romantic films. This is Movies a Podcast. My name's Rob, and this is
Jordan.
Curtis.
And Brenda.
and our ever popular producer,
Hi, this is Dan.
Hi, Dan.
and that's Dan.
That's Dan.
So let's play some catch up, guys. What's been going on the last 2-3 weeks since we last saw each other?
The Oscars.
Oh
Put the
yeah,
Oscars to bed.
Wait,
Talk
the
about
Oscars
beating a
happened?
dead horse,
Huh?
but
The Oscars happened?
Yeah.
They're over.
Jeez.
Seth MacFarlane wishes they didn't happen.
Oh,
Wishes for a do-over. That was tedious.
Jamie Lee Curtis told me that he was a sexist host, and I agree.
Yeah.
you and your lunches with these celebrities.
She wrote a Huffington Post about how sexist it was,
He
and I
sang
think
a
it
song
was.
about boobies.
Which was supposed to be funny, but it was juvenile.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they had like, on the opposite side, I saw your junk.
Yes.
That's even
that
our
song.
ladies.
That song would have been like a couple of verses. That's it.
It's like Hugh
Available on
Jackman.
iTunes.
Michael Fassbender.
Harvey Keitel. Exactly.
Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor's the Kate Winslet of junk.
Oh yeah.
He really is.
He is.
Yeah.
I wish Michael Fassbender was.
No. Once you've seen his, you're good. At least
you?
Ewan McGregor
Are
plays around with
Are
it
you?
and
Are you?
does penis
Spins
puppet
around.
shows.
I was pretty happy with the winners, though.
We were watching it together, and I was
pointing at me.
I wasn't very happy with. I was happy that Christoph Waltz won, but I really want.
So go.
I did. I thought maybe you were a nut. But you were excited.
I wish you'd stayed.
I wish I'd stayed too. Now I wish I'd stayed. I wish I'd done a lot of things. I wish I'd stayed. I do.
Well, I came back downstairs and you were
I
gone.
walked out. I walked out the door.
Why?
I don't know. Felt like a scared little kid. I was like, it was above my head. I don't know.
You were scared?
Yeah. I thought you knew that about me. I ran back to the bonfires, trying to outrun my humiliation, I think.
Was it something I said?
Yeah. You said so go. With such disdain, you know?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Jolie? What if you stayed this time?
I walked out the door. There's no memory left.
Come back and make up a goodbye at least. Let's pretend we had one. Bye, Joel.
I love you.
Still pretty
I honestly can't tell a difference.
between 9 and 11 inches.
I also can't go back to the campus at TSU and band for a year.
For the year.
At Prairie View.
She makes a joke, she thanks the nominees, and it just never came off as sincere.
Doesn't that happen with a lot of people, though? It's so manufactured, it's so styled and PR'd to death.
Renee Zellweger, if you follow her Cold Mountain win, because same thing, that trajectory, you knew she was going to win the whole time.
Well, Natalie Portman, too, with her...
But I think Natalie, you look at someone like Jennifer Lawrence and Daniel Day-Lewis, very opposite, in age and their bodies of work, but both were very sincere and humble when they walked up that stage and took that Oscar.
I love Daniel Day-Lewis.
I think George made a good point a few weeks ago about Anne Hathaway that she's become America's sweetheart for like no reason or whatsoever.
And it's coming back to get her. Like, I think Lindsay Lohan went through that, and look where she is now. And save your money.
I don't think Anne's going to go the route of Lindsay, but
I just wonder, I wish she would just be like, I won, or like, I wish she'd be like, Screw
Suck
you!
it.
I
Just
won.
swipes
Like
the statue,
like I'm an
runs
Oscar
down to
winner.
the 50-yard
She's
line.
she's under 30 and she's an Oscar winner. I mean, who cares? But she can't. She's got to be like, I'm a vegan actress and I'm thin. So.
Well, I guess we unanimously didn't like the Oscars, which was a
I
shame.
know that
I
it's a
won't say
bad.
we didn't like it. It's just I felt a little underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I think Seth MacFarlane did okay. They had to have like expected that when. At least it had more personality than like Anne Hathaway and James Franco, hosting.
No, I kind of disagree because I
That
think,
was a low. Anne Hathaway and James, and I love James.
but
Franco.
I think the Oscars is such a it's such an event that rises above a lot of that, especially after reading that book you had given me, and I felt that he just crapped all over it. I didn't like it at all. Not Tom Lee Jones doing that one.
Yeah, just because he
I
doesn't
was
have a
happy
chance
for
to win another
Christoph.
one.
I was. Any of those people, any of the best supporting actors could have won.
Yeah.
And I would have been happy.
That's true. That's very true. And Daniel Day-Lewis, I was happy with. Jennifer Lawrence, I've warmed up to that idea.
When her name was announced and my tears started flowing, she tripped. And I...
Was that your rage?
I
that knocked her over?
swear it was. I ran right up to that TV and I felt vindicated. I felt like there's a God. Like, I'm going to go to AA now.
No, I love Jennifer Lawrence. I can't see her why she won the award for that performance.
Yeah, no, I love the movie, but that wasn't my pick for the best actress.
Jessica Chastain was definitely robbed.
Yeah,
Any
for
of
sure.
them could have won, though. You know, I love Jessica Chastain, but any of the other women could have won. Pulvan Zane could have won. Like, her performance was more multi-layered than Jennifer Lawrence. And I'm not a Jennifer Lawrence hater.
No,
per
you've
se.
actually warmed up to her.
Yeah, I like her other movies, but not for this.
Like, I think she could have even won it for Winter's Bone as opposed to this. I think she did awesome in Winter's Bone.
She's great in Winter's Bone.
Maybe this was a makeup Oscar. They're like, oh, we could have given it to you that week, or that year.
They did that for Jim Broadbent one year. Like, they felt like it was really just an acknowledgement of his career, and then he had been overlooked a few times.
Oh, and then
so they gave him
For
I think
Iris.
That wasn't really a great performance, but they just wanted to give one to him.
I mean,
because he
that's
hadn't gotten
Russell
I mean, it
Crowe.
happens.
Nice.
Russell Crowe had that.
Got it for
happen.
Gladiator. He should have gotten it for The Insider.
Or A Beautiful Mind.
The Insider was good.
Excellent film.
But I was very happy with the winners predominantly. I thought Best Picture, great choice. I've seen Argo since we've last talked. Amazing.
Isn't
I moved
it
it to my
amazing?
number
He
one movie.
retracted his comment of,
I retracted. My number one movie was Argo.
Incredible. I was so excited. Michelle Obama.
Loved it.
Holy crap.
I loved her
I was
part.
shitting